Hello again. I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com, and I'm here to bring you a live paper crafting class on Wednesday, September 22nd at noon Central Time. So thank you all for joining me. Oh my goodness. I saw Wanda's comment too, Susan. That was funny. So yeah, if you showed up late, you're on time now. We had technical issues. And so we're doing it all over again. So if you saw the first part, you can just relax, go do something else and come back later. And then you'll be caught up halfway through. But welcome again, or welcome to you if you didn't catch the first one. And we are going to show a really, really fun card today, a card idea today. It's a cute card idea today. It's using the Peekaboo Farms stamp set and the layering diorama dies. So these dies can be used with so many different sets, but right now I'm using them kind of as like a little window into the Peeking Little Farm images. So a big welcome to Miss Susan Campfield, who is sticking with me today despite all these technical issues. She is a good friend of mine, been a friend of mine for, has it been 22 years plus? I don't know. Anyways, she's the person that I signed up under to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And she is here to take Trisha's spot today because Trisha cannot be with us. So welcome the wise and wonderful Susan Campfield. Thank you so much, Susan. Okay, so what else do I want to tell you before we go on to comments from last week? Oh, if you want to comment, you want to make sure that you're logged into your YouTube or Google account. And then you can comment away. You can tag people also. So let's say you want to ask a question to Susan, because that's what Susan's here for, is to help us out. She's our moderator with the little wrench symbol next to her name. If you want to tag her, all you need to do is write the @ sign or the A with the circle around it, and then start typing her name, SUSAN, and it'll come up, and then you can click on her name, and it'll make her name that comment stand out to her so she can see it, catch it, and respond to it. So sit back and enjoy if you're not logged in, or if you're watching this after the live, there's a separate section for you to comment in afterwards. And on that note, let us begin. I think I've covered everything. Yes, so let me bring up the comments from last time. I'll bring that screen into view. Here we go. So thank you to those people that were new for the first time. I have to apologize. You can see there's not very many comments from last time. I was actually reading them as I was exercising this morning, and so I only highlighted a few, but unlike last week, I think I had 2 pages worth last week. But I did read through all of them, and I thank you all for chiming in. It's fun to see those first-time viewers. It's fun to read what you do and where you're from, what you're doing and where you're from as you're watching the lives. Wanda, she commented that she uses her label maker for labeling her daubers or other items. That's a great tool to have. Mine is broken, so I no longer have one, but that is a great idea, much more efficient than what I used last week, which was just a sheet of paper with labels on it stuck on with Scotch tape. Anyways, and the other comment from Pammy about the unscented dryer sheets, I'm just going to add on to that. So using an unscented dryer sheet between your dies and your cardstock when you're die cutting it, especially with intricate dies, allows you to peel away your intricate die and have all the other little inside pieces just stick to the dryer sheet. And it's a fun way of separating them out, so it's quick and easy to grab those detailed dies. Another thing to do is if you find that your detailed die images are having a hard time coming out of the dies itself, and you don't have your die brush at hand, or you don't want to slap your die on the table like I did last week, you can use wax paper in between. That's a great thing for kind of lubricating. It doesn't really lubricate, but it gives a little bit of a waxy texture in between, and so it helps to separate that cardstock out of the die. So a couple great tips there. And then some of you commented on the suite being unavailable and the DSP being on back order. DSP stands for Designer Series Paper, by the way. And the designer series paper, I'm not sure if it's still on back order or not. I didn't check this morning. But if you see an item ever on back order, that means that you can still order it. You can pay for it and order it. And what will happen is when it does come in, it will ship to you directly and separately. So you'll get it. If an item is unavailable, then you cannot order it. And so those items have been shut off because the back order is so high that they didn't want to increase shipping costs beyond that. And so they've shut the item off, allowing Stampin' Up! To catch up. And then when the item comes in, it will be made available to order again. So the suite, Blackberry Beauty suite from last week, if you wanted to order the whole suite, you were out of luck because that suite had one item in it that was unavailable. It was the ribbon, and so you were unable to order the suite. But that doesn't mean you can't order all the other parts and pieces. So you can definitely order all the other parts and pieces separately. The designer paper, again, it could be ordered separately if it's on back order and you just have to wait for it. And then the case for my dauber is basically just an embroidery floss container that I had on hand that, I don't know, I got it years ago. So yeah, I have no clue where I got it from, except it was probably from Joann's or Michael's or whatever, but just a fun embroidery floss container. You could use like tackle box containers too. Those are great. They have small little separations in them. All right, this is the PDF that you'll be able to print off once my blog post goes live now, an hour later than normal. So it will go live at 1:15 p.m. Central Time. And you will be able to access this PDF in that blog post. Where do you find the blog post? It is written in the description of the video, so all you have to do is go to the description. You can see it right now while we're live. And you'll click on that at 1:15 or later, and you'll be able to access photos of the cards. This video will be in there. You'll have the measurements, supply list in visual format, so you'll be able to get all those goodies in that blog post. But here it is now. Here's the PDF. I love the idea of adding the date. I didn't do that. Sorry about that. I'll do that next week. But this is at least a more improved version of what I normally do because I've got a picture in there now. So yay for Rachel. She's learning. Imperial measurements are in there, and so are metric measurements. So depending on if you have letter size cardstock or A4 size cardstock, you'll be able to make this card. And you can see all the supplies are listed on the left-hand side. Oh, I wanted to make a note about the markers. I've listed the large assortment of markers, which are basically all the Stampin' Write markers. It's called Many Marvelous Markers. But I've also listed the 3 other sets of markers separately. So what I'm doing is I'm using 3 colors from 3 different families. You can't buy the colors separately right now. So you can't buy these individual markers separately, but you can get them in families or sets or whatever, or you could just get the whole shebang. So I'm so sorry about that. I used 3 from 3 different families, but you'll want them all eventually. So just start collecting them. And so, yeah, you don't have to have all of them, but anyways, that's why I listed that. I'm so glad I am doing this video over because I'm making corrections on things that I missed last time. Okay, we're going to move to the desktop. Oh, this is another improvement that I made. Look at this Post-it note. Do you see where it's placed? It's kind of here. I'm going to shift it over even more. It's kind of in the middle of where I should be visually for you so that my head isn't in the way and all that. But yeah, we've got a Post-it note that's now going to guide me into where I can place things on my table. This is the Peekaboo Farm stamp set. We are going to be using a few adorable images from this stamp set. So I'm going to be using the horse and the stone fence, stone gate or whatever you want to call it, stone wall. It's a wall. And we're going to be using the little musical notes next to the birdie and another sentiment here. The bird and the musical notes come together, but I just took my paper snips and cut the stamp in half. Stamp surgery, is that what somebody called it one time? You can use your scissors to cut your stamps in half. You can if you want. I just wanted to be able to use those notes separately for any of these little guys. Maybe they're whistling or whatever, or they're humming a tune. But I also wanted to be able to add extra notes wherever I wanted. So the bird notes are now a separate stamp. I think I'll be using the hello there words, but you could, you know what, I'm going to use Miss You. I just looked at the finished cards. I'm going to use the Miss You, but Sending Hugs would fit in the space, and even Life is Better with You would fit in the space for the card. So any one of those. Let's move that set off to the side. Let's grab our cardstock, and we'll go ahead and start cutting our 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So I've got some thick, basic white cardstock. I swear I have my, this is crazy, you guys. I swear I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Did we have a delay there? I'm so sorry if we did. Okay, we're gonna use our cardstock, 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Please let me get through this live. And we're going to cut it in half at in this direction. So half of 8.5 inches is 4.25. And then we're gonna score it in the other direction, this way. And we're gonna score it at, oh yeah, Rachel, it's not your day today. We're gonna use this one because the other one got scuffed up. So we're gonna score it at 5.5 inches with our scoring blade. And 5.5 is half of 11 inches. What I've done with my scoring blade, for those of you who might be joining for the first time, is I have labeled my scoring blade with the word score, and I just use some clear nail polish on there. And so we'll just press down and fold this in half at that score line, and we'll go ahead and use our bone folder and give it a good crease. All right, so that piece is ready. I've also got my cinnamon cider color ready, and this is 4 inches by 5.25. And then I've got my copper brushed metallic cardstock ready, and that piece is 3.25 inches by 4.5 inches. You can cut it maybe a little bit bigger. I wouldn't go too much smaller, because if you do, then you might have to shift how this is angled, and that'll make more sense once I die cut it. So metallic, brushed metallic cardstock. Let me share with you the 3 different colors that come in the brushed metallic cardstock pack. So we're going to be using copper because it goes really well with cinnamon cider. Another card that I have, I'm using brass because it goes really well with soft suede cardstock. I did find my cards, Jean. And then we have the gold brushed metallic cardstock. And you can see kind of the brushed look to it in this photo, although it doesn't really do it justice, or in the video. It's much better in person. You can see actual like brush lines in it. It's pretty cool. It's cool stuff. Okay, so that's that. Let us bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And again, a special thanks to Susan, who is with us for a good part of her day today. Oh my goodness sakes. Did I mention that she's my upline? She's the one that I signed up with over 22 years ago, or around 22 years ago. I don't know how long it's been. All right, let's set this up. So we have platform number 1. You can see the 1 on there. Die adapter number 2. Scratchy plate number 3, because I'm going to have my cutting part of my die going down. And then I have my cleaner plate number 3 that's going to go on top of it all. So we're going to bring in this cardstock, and we're going to bring in the layering dies. So yeah, Trisha couldn't make it today, but Susan is there for you. So again, if you need to ask a question, just tag her in your comment by doing the ampersand and then writing her name, just like Pammy did there. Ampersand SUSAN, and it'll bring up her name, and then you can click on her and she'll be able to read what you wrote. Okay, so these are the layering diorama dies, and you can see that there's like these 3 all go together, these outer 3 ones, these inner 2 go together, and then these 2 are kind of like partners with each other because they fit inside each other pretty well too. There's a slight difference on the bulgy part here, but that just makes them more fun. So these layering diorama dies, fun with like fish caves, or I saw somebody put the polar bear image on top of it. It looked like it was floating on an iceberg, so this was like the base of the iceberg. It was, you know, there's so many options you can do with these these fun dies. We're going to be using the two middle ones. We're going to use this one on top of the cinnamon cider cardstock, and we're just going to center it just like that. So let's go ahead and lay this on top. If it bugs you, if this starts to move, you can take like a Post-it note and stick it on top, and it'll keep your die in place. But I'm not too worried. I mean, this one doesn't have to be an exact placement on the cardstock. Okay, save that piece. You can use it for another project later. And then we're going to use the smaller one on the brushed metallic cardstock. And I'm going to place it in the same type of direction where it's kind of up and down, okay? If you have a smaller piece, you might have to start angling it, and that's when this piece could get kind of wonky on you. So again, I'll show that to you in just a second. Let's go ahead and die cut this piece, set up our cutting mat, and crank it through. Save that. That's good quality metallic cardstock. So what I mean by that now is, now you can see this here. If I were to layer these together, but this piece underneath was smaller, I may have had to go like this to it to get it to fit. And then you've got these corners that would come out and stick out. Granted, you could trim them off, I know, but it just, you know, just so that it's a little bit easier, that's why I recommend that size, okay? So there we go. Those pieces are going to get layered together. We can set our dies off to the side, but let's emboss this top one now with one of our Meadow Moments embossing folders. So these are the Meadow Moments pair of embossing folders. Not an ampersand, right? It's an and sign. Oh, thank you, Jonah. Did I say it wrong, Jonah? I thought I said at. Okay, I hope I said at. Did I say ampersand? I didn't mean to. Sorry. Okay, anyways, I was distracted. Okay, so these are the two embossing folders that come with Meadow Moments, and this is the one that we're going to be using. Yes, they come in a pair. You can see they're skinny, by the way. We also have 3D embossing folders. They're a little bit thicker, and that takes a different sandwich than the one that I'm going to show you right now. So let us take our platforms and plates, and we're just going to remove number 2. We're getting rid of number 2. We're going to sandwich the paper in between here so that we've got some lovely leaves coming down. Okay, by the way, it's best to move your embossing folders into your die with the fold first. It's just fact. So we've got that, and we're gonna sandwich this in, making sure everything's within the sandwich. Don't want anything sticking off the sides. And then we'll crank it through. And look at the lovely results. So fun. Isn't that awesome? So those two are ready for our card. Now, if we were going to do a thicker embossing folder, you would actually take away the plates and number 2. You'd bring in the thicker embossing folder with the cardstock inside. You'd put it inside, lay it on your base number 1 platform, and then you'd put this on there. So this is our real thick embossing folder plate, number 4, okay? And then you can crank that through. All right, we're gonna move these off to the side. By the way, if you, whenever I use dies in any of my lives lately, I've been including links in the bottom or in the description of the video for the magnetic little sheets here, and then these little folders. That's what I store my guys in for all of my different sets of dies. And they're from Stamp and Storage, so you can find the links in the description of my video. All right, let's go ahead and layer these together. First we want to stamp though, so we're going to bring in our stamp that says Miss You, and we're going to grab our block. I have another stamp that I was using on that block. There, okay, it's off now. we're going to bring in Early Espresso ink, and Early Espresso ink is a nice neutral that's not harsh like black. Black is really a strong dark color, right? But Early Espresso, I like to use that with browns, and so it's a softer color. So we're going to stamp Miss You down here, and then we're going to keep this. We're going to keep that ink ready to go. We're going to attach these two pieces together with some seal. So I'm just going to put a little bit of seal in the four corners here, and just layer this right on top like that. So we have a nice even border most of the way around. You'll see a little bit more at the bottom here. That's just the way the dies are set up. Okay, so that's ready to go. Now we want to stamp onto our white. Now if I was using blends markers are alcohol-based markers, and they tend to bleed all the way through, and we don't want that to happen because we've only got one layer of cardstock here. Okay, so we're just going to use the Stampin' Right markers. You could use watercolor pencils. You could use the pastels that we have now, but I'm going to use the Stampin' Right markers. I'm going to bring in this tool called the Stamparatus, and the Stamparatus comes with these lovely magnets, which I've put tape over the top of. One of mine has broken because it went really fast into the other magnet. They came together really hard, crashed, and broke. We do sell replacement magnets, but you want to keep these guys away from each other. So this one's going to be over here, that one's going to be over there. It happens to you once, you learn, and then you move on. My magnet still works, it's just broken. Okay, so let's see here. I've already set up my my bricks, but I think I'm gonna wash these off and do the setup all from the beginning for you guys, so that you can see how it works. So these little plates click into the Stamparatus like that, so that you can it's like a hinge system. So we're gonna put that there, and then we're gonna put just a practice piece of cardstock. Now I've already got, this is the one that I had as practice, and I think it's pretty much still set up to work. Yeah, this is the one that I had set up for when I made multiples of these cards, because I sent them to new demonstrators that had signed up last month. So it is pretty much ready to go, but if I want to, I can flip this over and kind of use this as a guide. Now what I would do, I think this one has ink on it. No, it's clean. Okay, so what I would do is I would lay my card base size piece where I want it to be on my Stamparatus. Then I would put this guy on top where it would be. Then I would place this where I want that to kind of set, hold on to it, and bring this through like that. That's how I did it, you guys. And then I take and I grab it, and it's ready to go. And I use the lines on the grid paper. This is our small grid paper, which you can get even if you don't own the Stamparatus. It's an awesome pad of grid paper because it's easy to travel with. You can take it with you wherever you go. So now let us try this out. I'm going to ink this up, and we'll just use our ink pad upside down like this. Add a little ink to it, making sure that this is in place here, that this is nice and flush in the corner. I'm going to set a magnet on my cardstock so it doesn't move, and in fact we'll put one up here too. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this down on top, and I'm going to stamp it. And it's okay if we don't get the whole image. See how I made a little boo-boo there? Because the Stamparatus will allow you to stamp in the exact same spot again. But right now that's not my concern. My concern is making sure I have it set up right. So now I can lay this over the top, and it looks like it will work. Yay. So we're gonna go ahead and go with that. In fact, you know what? I think I want it to be down just a little bit lower. So I'm going to just shift this 1/8 of an inch like that. Instead of repositioning everything, I'm just gonna shift it, and again use the lines of the grid paper to see if that will work. Yes, that makes my fence go up a little bit higher. You can see how I've got this up higher than this. You know what I mean? All right, so we are ready to go. We just want to make sure that when I put my card base on here, that it's going to go a little bit lower than the top. I'm going to make it 1/8 of an inch lower. So let's bring that in, set it up, put our magnets on it. I think I'm going to have that one down a little bit more. We're going to ink up our fence. We're going to stamp it down. And ta-da! Now if I wanted to, let's say I didn't get the whole image, I could take and re-ink this again, bring it down on top again, because it's going to go in the exact same spot. Okay? So now we have our fence ready. We can take this plate off. We could turn it around and use the other side, or we could clean this off, or whatever we want to do. But I have 2 plates. Yes, I do. I have 2 plates. So we're going to go ahead and I think this one, yeah. So I've got some little music notes that are already on there. And then we want our horsey in there. So I've got my clean little horsey stamp, and I'm going to position him right where I want him to go. So cute. Oh my gosh. He's such a cutie. And I'm going to move these guys. I think they're inky. Okay, there's my horsey. You know what, I'll just set these over here for now because I think they're inked up. All right, so our horse is going to get stamped next. So again, just checking to make sure he's in the right spot, and he looks like he is. So we're going to ink this up. By the way, Stampin' Spots are excellent for your Stamparatus because then you don't get all that ink all the way around like this kind of creates. So if you have Stampin' Spots, those are mini ink pads that you can get in like the smaller stamping kits, like Paper Pumpkin, Kits of Creativity. Oh, is he not the cutest little guy ever? Everybody has to own a stinking cute image set like this. This is one of my favorites. They're just so adorable. Okay, so he's done. We can set all this stuff off to the side. In fact, let's be safe about our magnets, and let's put one in that spot. You can see they've got little, oops, sorry. They've got little storage areas down here. And then we'll set the other one in the other spot so they're away from each other, ready to go. Okay, let's bring this back in. And now we're going to use some other colors. Oh, let's stamp the music notes separately. We didn't have to worry about setting that up on a Stamparatus because that's pretty easy to stamp. So we're just putting that on the block. We're going to ink it up onto our stamp pad directly. Let's put this over the top so we know where we're going. And we'll just put those right there. So cute. Okay, so what I've done already is I have stamped on a scrap piece of cardstock that little horsey guy and the wall, and I had holes in here because I used some peach dyes on it from before, so I just covered up my little holes like that. Okay, and now I can take and place this over the top of where my wall and my horse are. Now granted, he's a little bit tilted a little bit differently than how I originally had him, but that's okay. We're going to use this because that'll save us time. And we're going to bring in a blending brush that I've already marked with the color Pool Party because that's what I want to use on this guy. And here's the Pool Party ink. So we'll open it up. Masking is such a great trick for adding color that you need in crevices, places like that. So I'm masking. I'm covering up an area where I don't want ink to go. Let's bring in that grid paper again. I want to have that on hand. And we're going to take our blending brush and just go in kind of a circular motion to pick up the ink. Okay? The squirrels. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked that set, Donna. Okay, yes, that squirrel set is another stinking cute set, if that's what you guys were talking about. Okay, so we got our color on there, and we can start onto our actual mask and then come kind of off to the side around it. Now, why is my paper kind of on the greenish side because this is actually a bluish greenish color. True, it's true. It's a bluish greenish color, but yeah, I don't know, because it probably took up some of the brown ink too. I don't know why it looks greenish. It looks very greenish there, but that's what it looks like. There we go. Now, if I pull this away, oops, I'm going to get in the corner a little bit more too. When I pull this away, you're going to see the sky in the background. Yay! So we've got our sky, and now we want to take and cover up, which one did I use for that? Here it is. We're going to take and cover up those little hoof prints in this direction, sorry, like that. So I've done the same thing where I've taken my I don't know why I cut his head out. I don't know what happened. Oh, I punched into it or something. Oh, no, yeah, that's probably where this guy came from. Yeah, anyways. All you need is the edge, though. That's the important part. So we're going to cover that up so we don't accidentally ink into an area we don't want to. And we've got the top of that wall, and then we've got the hoof prints in there, and we can just layer that over the top like this. We'll put away our blue ink and bring in our petal pink now. And you can clean off your blending brushes and let them dry. They take a long time to dry because this is really, really dense as far as the little bristles in there. They're so dense that it takes them a little bit longer to dry. So I'm a crazy person who's just gonna, you know, have a color per blending brush. Or you could have them, like you could use this with different pinks, you know, colors that are similar to each other if you don't want to buy a whole bunch of blending brushes and not have to clean them. But no, I'm crazy. I'm just gonna have one per color. So we're gonna go into our petal pink ink now and just lay this right on top here like that. And we're gonna blend underneath. So we're doing the fence area. So petal pink, I know, petal pink. We're using a petal pink color for the gate, the wall. I don't know, Rachel's crazy. It's cute. Plus I wanted to use very few markers. So now we've got that on there. So that's masking. Pretty easy to do, right? What a cute kid card. Okay, now we're gonna bring in those markers that come from 3 different families. And I'm gonna put my little Post-it note back in place here. Okay, so now what we can do is start coloring. And I've brought my soft suede color, which I have in a couple different markers because I buy too many sets of markers. But that one is for the cute cow. So yes, this is the finished card, which you probably saw a peek of when you saw the preview to the video. I used soft suede, I used the Hello There stamp, and I used soft suede ink from the marker on the cow. So we're going to set the soft suede aside because we're not using it right now, and we're going to color in our horse. I'm using the brush tip, but you could use, you know, the fine tip if you need to get into the finer areas. And we're just going to color the hair. Is this hair? Yeah, this is hair. The hair on the horse. And if you want to, you can get, you know, real artsy and leave little white spaces to make it look like there's shine on the hair. I'm not getting too artsy with you right now. Sorry about that. And let's color in the hooves. How do you say that word? You know, a hoof and a hoof. We're going to color in both of them. I have this cowboy hat, cowgirl hat, that I bought at a garage sale, and I don't have clothing to wear with it, and I was going to wear that during the video today, and I didn't have the nerve. I don't know. I'm a wannabe cowgirl. That's what I am. So now, yes, you can see we have 2 different tips on there. I'm going to use the brush tip here, and I'm going to get the little, oh, what's this part of the horse called? I don't know. Yeah, I'm far removed from being a farm girl, that's for sure. Not very knowledgeable, but these farm animals are super cute, even if I don't know what they're called. So each one of these bricks in our wall is just going to become a pink color. And yeah, I'm just coloring kind of loosely. I mean, because it's really I mean, it's a wall. It doesn't have to be real smooth and precise. And I just added, did you see how I added some pink in the ears too? I just used the brush pen and flicked a little bit of pink into the ears. So just using 3 colors completes this card. It's pretty quick and easy to do. Now if you need a brown horse or a black horse or whatever, you're gonna have to get a little bit more intricate as you color. But I just went with a white horse with brown hair. Oh, I love my horsey. Okay, so now that that is done, we can assemble the rest of the card. Pretty darn easy, and look, see, you don't see any ink coming through on the other side. So you're good to go. Let's take our layered piece, add some dimensionals to the back side. Got a fresh new sheet of dimensionals today. We'll just add one to each corner, and that will give you the illusion that the whole thing is popped up on dimensionals, even if it's not. So that gets added here. You could put a sentiment or something else, some images on the inside, but I'm not going to do that. Oh, my fence got a little high. I was not very precise on that, was I? Bummer. Oh, you know what? I think I went the wrong way. Oh, were some of you mathematical people thinking that as I was moving my fence? My fence got higher because instead of shifting my paper upwards to make my fence go lower on the Stamparatus, I went the other direction. You know what though? This live has way less mistakes in it than the live I just did that I had to delete. So let's bring in our brushed metallic adhesive back dots. You guys are all laughing at me. Were you screaming too? I bet a lot of you were screaming to Rachel. Rachel, the other direction. Oh my goodness sakes. It's fine. It's fine, Rachel. Move on. Okay, I've got an open pack, so we'll just go ahead and pull these puppies out, and we'll grab our Take Your Pick tool. And we're going to use look at this. They match the brushed metallic cardstock. So like the copper ones go with the copper. The brass ones kind of go with, I think those are considered brass. And then the gold with the gold. It's splendid. So we're going to grab a big one. And we're going to grab a small one. Just put them real close to each other. Like that. And our cards are done. Again, these are cards that don't have anything fancy on the inside, but the outside is stinking cute, right? All right, so I'll just lay them right next to each other like that. You don't necessarily need to see. Here, we'll take the one that had a mistake out of there. The fence was too high. Ugh. You know what I'll do? I'll add a couple more bricks down there. That's what I'm going to do. I am going to remove this layer. I'm going to extend the lines with my black Sharpie, black marker, my Stampin' Right marker, and then I'll draw in a couple more bricks down there. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine, Rachel. It's still a card I can give away. On that note, what are you going to give away today, Rachel? Okay, so let me bring in the prizes. Holy cow. It's all good. All right, so our prizes today have to do with the cards that we made. So if Susan draws your name, you will be one of the winners that gets a 1/4 of a pack of the brushed metallic cardstock. And there are lots of sheets in here. There's 6 sheets, so there's 3 12 by 12 sheets of each of those colors. So you would get, 2 12 by 12 sheets of each of the 3 colors. So you would get 2 6 by 6 sheets of each of the 3 colors, and you'll get a pack of the coordinating metallic adhesive back dots. Who can't use that, right? So I'm going to let Susan do the picking, draw some names. In the meantime, let me bring in the prize from last week. So our prize from last week goes to an after live commenter. So if you commented after the live, you were in on the drawing for this, which is a half of a pack of the Cute Halloween designer series paper. And then you also got some fun embellishments that were left over from one of my kits of creativity that I had with the butterflies in it. And a couple sheets of dimensionals. Because like someone said last week, who can't use more dimensionals, right? So I am going to move over to my computer and make sure that I've got my screen set up here for sharing. There we go. I'm going to get this advertisement off of here. You guys can't see this stuff, but I'm just, cleaning things up a little bit. All right, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, it looks like she picked, oh wait, one winner from the first attempt who is also watching, and one winner. We have Pammy Clayton and Susan Sanders. Yay! Thank you so much, Susan Campfield, for drawing those winners, those names. And congratulations to you people who won. Yay. Okay, so for the other prize, for the After Live from last week, we have Charlene Freitchen. Freitchen? I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name. Freitchen. I'm a former elementary teacher, so I make it a goal to really try hard to pronounce names correctly, but that one's a little beyond me. So you'll have to let me know how to pronounce it when you message me. I do have an email address, so for those of you that are winners, make sure that you reach out to me at stampyourartout@comcast.net, and that is the best way to get me your address so that I can mail your prizes to you. If you live outside the U.S., then just make sure that you contact me anyways, because I can send you via email a tutorial as your prize. So I have non-product prizes that I can send your way. What else do we want to say? So this will go live at 1:15 p.m. on my blog. Again, visit my blog at stampyourartout.com, or you can click in the link in the description of the video and you'll be able to find that blog post directly. It'll go right to that blog post instead of you needing to search for the September 22nd blog post, okay? So use that as a tool. What else do I want to mention? My next live on YouTube will be next week, next Wednesday, hopefully at 11 a.m. Central Time. This is the only time where I've ever had to do anything like this, you guys. This was crazy, all the technical issues. Wednesday, next week will be September 29th. Wow, time flies, doesn't it? Especially when you think of things in weeks at a time. September 29th at 11 a.m. Central Time. And I think that's it. If you're interested in any of the products, you can look at the description of the video, or you can go to that blog post and shop from the direct links there. But feel free to shop my online store. You can find it at my blog at stampyourartout.com. Every $50 that you order gets you a free celebration pick now through the end of September. So if you're watching this during September still, you'll be able to grab a free pick from the celebration of products. There's like stamp sets in there. There's packs of designer paper. It's really fun picks. Now, if you are a demonstrator yourself, shop from yourself. If you have a demonstrator already, shop from them and share the love. And don't just buy from who you normally buy from. But yes, if you'd like to purchase from me, I welcome that too. Thank you so much. I think that is all I needed to share today. We got through that in 40 minutes despite all the issues that we had technically earlier. So thank you, everybody. And thanks for sticking with me a little bit longer today. I will let you all go. Oh, she's got it in there. Oh, Donna's telling me, for a name that looks German, it has an IE combination in the last vowels. I'm going to read through that. Okay. All right. Thank you. I love you guys. You helped me out. Take care, everyone. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.